Captain Alex Morgan stood on the bridge of the UES Horizon, staring at the strange readings on the main screen. The Deep Space Monitoring Station near Jupiter had detected unusual energy signatures near Saturn 3 days ago, and the Horizon was the closest vessel that could investigate. "What do you think it is?" asked Commander Lisa Reyes, Morgan's second-in-command. "No idea," Morgan replied, running a hand through his short brown hair. "Could be a sensor malfunction, could be something interesting. Either way, we're about to find out." The Horizon approached the coordinates slowly. The crew remained silent, all eyes fixed on their instruments. Something big was out there, but the sensors couldn't make sense of it. "Captain, I'm picking up multiple objects," said Lieutenant Paul Fisher at the sensor station. "7 distinct vessels, and they're not ours." Morgan felt his pulse quicken. "Are you absolutely certain they're not from Earth?" "Yes, sir. The design isn't anything in our database. And there's something else. They appear to be adrift." "On screen," Morgan ordered. The main view screen shifted to show 7 ships unlike anything they had ever seen. They were elegant, with sweeping curves and a silvery blue metal that seemed to shimmer against the blackness of space. But several of the vessels showed clear damage: torn hull plating, dark sections suggesting power loss, and debris floating nearby. "My God," whispered Lisa, "we're not alone anymore." Morgan tapped his communication panel. "This is Captain Alex Morgan of the United Earth Ship Horizon. We are approaching unidentified vessels. All stations, yellow alert. First contact protocols are now in effect." Science Officer Natalie Porter looked up from her console. "Captain, I'm detecting life signs aboard those ships, but they're faint, and the atmospheric composition inside their vessels is deteriorating." Morgan nodded grimly. "Looks like they're in trouble." He turned to Communications Officer Eric Daniels. "Any signals from them?" "Nothing direct, sir, but I'm picking up what might be distress beacons, repeating patterns that aren't random." "Send a basic mathematical sequence, prime numbers, universal language," Morgan ordered. Daniels worked his console, and the bridge crew waited in tense silence. 2 minutes later, the console beeped. "They've responded. Same sequence with additional patterns. And now, they're attempting to establish a visual link." "Accept it," Morgan said, straightening his uniform. The screen flickered, and everyone gasped. The being on screen had pale blue skin, large eyes with vertical pupils, and delicate gill-like structures at the neck. Behind it, the ship appeared dark, with emergency lighting casting eerie shadows. The alien spoke, its mouth forming unfamiliar shapes, but no sound came through. "They're transmitting on a different frequency," Daniel said, adjusting settings. Suddenly, the strange, musical language filled the bridge. Porter quickly fed the sounds into the ship's computer. "It'll take time to build a translation matrix, but the computer might find patterns." After several attempts, broken phrases began to emerge. "Help. Systems failing. Attacked. Civilians in danger." Morgan made a quick decision. "Tell them we're here to help. Ask what they need." As the rough communication continued, they learned the aliens called themselves the Veldari. Their fleet had been attacked by another species, leaving them damaged and stranded in an unfamiliar system with critical systems failing. "We can't just leave them here," said Lisa. Morgan called a quick meeting of his senior staff. "This is beyond our mission parameters. I need your input." Chief Engineer Doug Williams spoke first. "Their technology is way beyond ours, Captain, but damage is damage. We might be able to help." "There are 2,000 civilians in suspended animation on their main vessel," Porter added. "Their life support is failing." One by one, each officer voiced their opinion. The vote was unanimous. Morgan nodded. "Then it's decided. We're going to rescue them. Humanity's first contact will not be marked by turning our backs on those in need." He turned back to the screen where the Veldari waited. "Tell them help is coming." Chief Engineer Doug Williams floated through the damaged corridor of the largest Veldari ship, his magnetic boots occasionally engaging to keep him stable. The alien vessel's interior was both beautiful and strange, with organic-looking curves that seemed to flow rather than connect at hard angles. Soft blue lights pulsed along what he assumed were emergency pathways. "I've never seen anything like this propulsion system," he said into his comm unit. "They're using some kind of exotic particle acceleration that makes our engines look like steam power." Back on the horizon, Captain Morgan and the Veldari fleet commander, Admiral Skrull, worked through translation difficulties. The alien's voice produced musical tones that the translation matrix converted into choppy English. "Our main generator, damaged in attack," Skrull explained, gesturing with four-fingered hands. "Life support failing. Hibernation pods at risk." Science Officer Porter analyzed the data coming in from her team. "Their biology requires a higher nitrogen content than we do. Their ideal atmosphere has elements we don't even have names for yet." "Can we help them?" Morgan asked. "Maybe. We can't repair their systems completely, but we might be able to restore enough power to keep their life support functioning." Communications specialist Eric Daniels worked day and night improving the translation matrix. By the third day, conversations became smoother, and the humans learned more about the Veldari crisis. "The suspended animation chambers hold our families," Admiral Skrull explained, more clearly now. "Without stable power, they will all die within 14 of your Earth days." Morgan made a decision. "We're going to tow your ships back to Earth orbit. Our engines can't match yours, so it'll be slow, but it's your best chance." The engineering team faced their greatest challenge yet. The Veldari ships were massive, and human towing technology had never been tested on anything so large or with such different materials. "We'll need to create custom connection points," Williams told his team. "And the stress calculations are going to be a nightmare." Lieutenant Ben Carter led the spacewalk team responsible for attaching the towing mechanisms. Working in the void between the ships was dangerous enough, but the alien materials responded differently to tools and welds. "Careful with that connection point," Carter instructed a team member. "Their hull material seems to have some kind of reactive properties." Halfway through the installation process, alarms blared on both ships. A radiation surge from a nearby damaged Veldari engine core threatened the entire operation. "Get your people out of there," Morgan ordered over the comm. Carter and his team scrambled toward safety, but two engineers were too far from the airlocks. The radiation levels climbed dangerously. In a surprise move, the Veldari shared critical data about their shielding technology. Porter quickly configured the Horizon's shields to emit a counter-frequency. "It's working," she announced as radiation levels began dropping. "Their shield modification is containing the leak." After the crisis passed, Williams discovered something remarkable. "Captain, I think I understand part of their propulsion system now. If we modify our approach, we can reduce the towing time by half." The humans worked alongside the Veldari engineers, developing ways to communicate complex technical concepts despite their different backgrounds. What started as simple gestures evolved into a shared technical language of diagrams and mathematical formulas. 5 days after first contact, the first successful test of the towing system was completed. The smallest Veldari vessel moved in perfect sync with the horizon. "We did it," Williams said, exhaustion clear in his voice. "We can save them." That night, as the crews rested before the long journey, the Veldari engineer Kozal approached Williams with a small glowing object. "For you," the alien said simply. "To remember." The gift was a small model of both their ships, connected by beams of light. Williams accepted it with a nod. No translation needed for this moment of shared accomplishment. Captain Morgan looked out at the damaged alien fleet, now secured for the long journey toward Earth. "Send word home," he told communications. "Tell them we're bringing guests." Dr. Olivia Grant had never imagined she would be treating an alien patient. Yet here she was, carefully examining the injured Veldari navigator, whose blue-tinted skin felt cool and slightly damp under her gloved hands. The alien's chest rose, and fell in a rhythm different from humans. 3 quick breaths followed by a long pause. "The bone structure is fascinating," she told her medical team. "Their skeletal system seems to be partially cartilage, almost like sharks on Earth." The Velderi patient watched her with large violet eyes that blinked sideways instead of up and down. Dr. Grant smiled reassuringly as she worked. In another section of the horizon, Fleet Admiral Skrull met with Captain Morgan and his senior officers. The translation system had improved enough for deeper conversations. "Our people come from a star system you would call." The Admiral paused as the translator searched for equivalents. "Lyra constellation. We were a peaceful society until resources became scarce." The Admiral activated a small device that projected a 3-dimensional star chart in the air between them. Points of light showed the Velderi home system, their journey path, and the location of their attackers. "These are the territories claimed by the Krell Dominion." Skrull indicated several red dots. "They believe all resources belong to them by divine right. When we refused to surrender our outer colonies, they attacked without warning." Security Chief Mason Wright studied the map with narrowed eyes. "And they might follow you here." "We cannot say for certain. Our fleet scattered during the attack. We hope they believe us destroyed." Morgan nodded thoughtfully. "We'll increase our long-range scans, just in case." Despite Wright's caution, relationships between the two species developed quickly. Cook Alice Jenkins found herself hosting several Velderi in the ship's galley. "They can't eat most of our food," she explained to curious crew members, "but they're fascinated by how we prepare meals." The Velderi, in turn, showed the humans their artistic traditions. In the cargo bay, they created stunning light sculptures that shifted and danced in patterns that seemed to tell stories without words. "It's like ballet made of light," whispered Lieutenant Garcia as she watched. Not all interactions were easy. When Engineer Williams tried to explain Earth's combustion engines, the Velderi seemed disturbed. "You burn fossil remains for power?" asked the Velderi engineer, Kozal, the translator conveying alarm in the musical tones. "This creates imbalance in planetary systems. We're working on better methods," Williams said defensively. "Fusion, solar power. Perhaps we can help each other," Kozal offered after a moment. In the observation lounge, Porter organized what she called philosophy exchanges. Humans and Velderi discussed their views on life, death, and the universe. "Our people believe consciousness flows through all living things," explained a Velderi elder named Mevrin. "When we die, our energy rejoins the cosmic current." "Many Earth religions have similar concepts," Porter replied. "The idea of souls or spirits continuing after death." The Velderi seemed surprised by human individuality. Their society functioned more collectively, with important decisions made by consensus rather than leadership command. "How can you move forward when each person might want something different?" asked Mevran. "Sometimes it's messy," admitted Commander Reyes. "But we believe diversity of thought leads to better solutions." As the joined fleet slowly moved toward Earth, Captain Morgan noticed the growing bonds between the crews. In the mess hall, humans and Velderi now sat together despite their different biological needs. Engineers from both species worked side by side, learning from each other's techniques. "They've been through so much," Morgan said to Reyes as they watched the interactions, "fleeing their homes, attacked, nearly dying in space. And now they're placing their trust in a species they just met." Reyes added, "That takes courage." Later that evening, Admiral Skrull presented Captain Morgan with a small crystal that glowed with inner light. "Among our people," the Admiral said, "this signifies a bond between those who have faced death together and prevailed. We consider you kin now." Morgan accepted the gift with a slow, respectful nod, the way he had seen the Velderi do. "The honor," he said, "is ours." The journey toward Earth proceeded slowly. The damaged Velderi ships, even with the Horizon's towing systems, could only manage 1/3 of normal speed. Captain Morgan spent hours each day in communication with Earth's United Council, explaining the situation and advocating for the refugees. "These people need our help," he said during one tense video conference. "They have technology that could benefit humanity for generations, but more importantly, helping them is simply the right thing to do." The council debated fiercely. Some members worried about security risks, others about resource allocation. After 3 days of arguments, they reached a decision. "The United Earth Navy will dispatch a support fleet to your location," announced Admiral Samantha Hughes. "We'll establish a safe corridor for your approach to Earth orbit. But Captain, this is on your head if anything goes wrong." True to their word, 5 days later, the support fleet arrived. 6 Earth vessels surrounded the horizon and its alien charges in protective formation. Admiral Hughes transferred to the horizon to take command of the operation. "Your rescue mission has become quite the diplomatic situation," she told Morgan privately. "Half the Earth wants to welcome our new friends with open arms. The other half is building bunkers." The combined fleet established a supply chain, transferring food, medicine, and materials to maintain the fragile life support systems on the Veldari vessels. Progress was steady but painfully slow. On the 14th day of the journey, Ensign Ryan Foster was caught attempting to sabotage one of the power transfer lines to the lead Veldari ship. "They don't belong here," he shouted as security officers held him. "Aliens will be the end of humanity." The incident created tension throughout the fleet. Admiral Skrull requested a meeting with Morgan and Hughes. "We understand fear of the unknown," the alien leader said. "Our own history has similar chapters. Perhaps we should do more to share who we are." Following this suggestion, cultural exchanges increased. Amanda Kelly, the Horizon's youngest officer, made a breakthrough with the few Veldari children who were not in suspended animation. She taught them Earth games while they showed her how to create simple light patterns with their hands. "They're just kids," she told her fellow officers. "Different looking, sure, but they laugh when they're happy and cry when they're scared, just like us." The journey faced its first major physical challenge when long-range sensors detected a dense asteroid field ahead. Normally, ships would simply go around such obstacles, but the towing connections made the fleet less maneuverable. "We'll need to plot a course straight through," Navigator John Baker announced. "It's risky, but it will save us 8 days of travel time." The Veldari navigation team offered to help. Their sensor technology could detect smaller objects at greater distances than Earth equipment. Working together, the combined crew charted a narrow but navigable path. "Like threading 7 needles at once," Baker muttered as they began the delicate maneuver. For 2 tense days, the ships weaved between floating rocks. 3 minor impacts caused damage to the escort vessels, but the core fleet remained intact. As they emerged from the field, crews from both species celebrated. The moment of triumph was short-lived. Just as they cleared the asteroids, the sun experienced an unexpected solar flare, sending radiation toward the vulnerable fleet. "The Veldari ships don't have adequate shielding against this type of radiation," Porter warned. "Their life support systems could fail completely." Without hesitation, Captain Morgan ordered the Horizon to position itself between the solar flare and the Veldari vessels. The Earth ship shields were stronger, but taking the brunt of the radiation would strain them to their limits. "Divert all non-essential power to the shields," Morgan commanded. The Horizon shuddered as the radiation wave hit. Warning lights flashed across every console, but the shields held. Inside the Veldari ships, refugees watched in awe as the smaller human vessel protected them, its shields glowing bright against the deadly solar storm. "This," Admiral Skrull said to his officers, "is why we were right to trust them." When the danger passed, both crews assessed the damage. The Horizon had suffered system failures across multiple decks, but no lives were lost. 2 more weeks to Earth, Morgan announced to the combined fleet. "Let's get these people home." The news of the approaching alien fleet reached Earth before the ships did. Media outlets broadcast constant updates, mixing facts with wild speculation. Live streams showed millions of people gathering in major cities, eyes turned skyward in anticipation. It's absolute chaos down there, Admiral Hughes said, looking at the reports coming in. Religious groups claiming it's the end times, scientists demanding access, and governments squabbling over who gets first contact rights. Captain Morgan stood beside her on the Horizon's bridge, watching Earth grow larger on the view screen. And what does the Council say? They've designated Greenland as the temporary settlement area. The climate and isolation make it ideal for the Velderi's biological needs. The approach to Earth orbit took 12 tense hours. Air traffic worldwide was grounded as a precaution. Military vessels formed a protective ring around the incoming fleet, as much to protect the aliens from potential human threats as the other way around. Finally, the damaged Velderi ships were safely positioned in high orbit. A small delegation would descend to Earth while their engineers continued repairs on their vessels. Admiral Skrull selected 5 representatives, including himself. The Velderi wore special breathing apparatus designed by Dr. Grant to filter Earth's atmosphere to their needs. "Are you ready for this?" Morgan asked the Admiral as they prepared to board the shuttle. The alien's translator converted a musical series of tones. "In all our history, we never imagined first contact would happen because we needed rescue. We are ready, but humbled." The landing site in Greenland was surrounded by a hastily constructed facility. Diplomatic officials from every major nation waited inside, along with scientific teams and cultural experts. Outside the perimeter, crowds of protesters and supporters had gathered despite the remote location and bitter cold. As the shuttle touched down, the world watched. The Velderi emerged slowly, their blue skin and graceful movements captured by hundreds of cameras. Admiral Skrull stepped forward first, removing his breathing mask briefly in a gesture of trust before replacing it. United Earth Council President Laura Chen greeted them formally. "On behalf of humanity, welcome to Earth." The first meetings lasted for hours. Diplomatic Officer Chris Peterson, specially selected for his background in anthropology, helped navigate the complex discussions. The Velderi governance system is consensus-based, he explained to President Chen during a brief recess. They don't make decisions through singular authority the way we often do. Outside the facility, reactions were mixed. Some protesters carried signs reading "Earth for Humans," while supporters held welcoming messages in various languages. A young scientist named Kelly Ward made an unexpected breakthrough when she discovered that certain Velderi waste products could actually neutralize pollution in seawater. What had begun as a refugee situation suddenly held promise for Earth's environmental problems. Their biochemistry produces compounds that bind with heavy metals and plastic particles, she explained to an astonished environmental committee. This could revolutionize ocean cleanup efforts. As the first week of negotiations continued, the Velderi requested permission to revive some of their people from suspended animation. A special facility was prepared, and humans watched in awe as families were reunited after their long journey. A small Velderi child approached the human security line, offering a glowing crystal similar to the one given to Captain Morgan. The security officer, unsure how to respond, accepted it with a smile. Within hours, similar exchanges were happening throughout the compound. Media coverage shifted as these personal moments were broadcast worldwide. Polls showed public opinion swinging toward acceptance, though significant fear remained. On the 8th day, a joint human-Velderi celebration was organized. Earth foods safe for Velderi consumption were prepared alongside Velderi nutrient solutions adapted for humans. Musicians from both species attempted to play together, creating strange but compelling harmonies. During this celebration, Admiral Skrull and President Chen signed the first formal alliance between Earth and another intelligent species. "Today marks not the end of a rescue mission," Chen announced to the gathered representatives, "but the beginning of a partnership. Earth is no longer alone in the universe, and we are stronger for it." As night fell over Greenland, the northern lights danced in the sky. The Velderi watched in wonder, their own bioluminescent skin glowing gently in response to the aurora. "Your world," Admiral Skrull told Morgan, "is beautiful beyond our expectations. And it's your world too now," Morgan replied. For as long as you needed to be. The alarm sounded at 3:27 a.m. Earth time. Deep space sensors, recently upgraded with Veldari technology, detected 3 large vessels entering the solar system. They weren't broadcasting identification and were on direct course for Earth. Captain Morgan was pulled from sleep by the emergency alert. He rushed to the command center established in the Greenland facility, where Admiral Hughes was already reviewing the data. Unknown ships, moving fast, she said without preamble. And according to the Veldari Energy Signature database, they matched the Krell attack vessels. Morgan's stomach tightened. They followed them here. Admiral Skrull arrived moments later, his normally musical speech patterns sharp with urgency. It is as we feared. The Krell have found us. Within an hour, Earth's military leaders gathered for an emergency session. The Veldari explained what humanity was facing. The Krell believe themselves superior to all species. Admiral Skrull told the grim-faced generals and admirals. They take what they want and destroy what they cannot use. Satellite images showed the approaching vessels. They were massive, angular ships with sharp edges that seemed designed to intimidate. Their black hulls absorbed light rather than reflected it. How much time do we have? President Chen asked. At their current speed, 36 hours until they reach Earth orbit, replied General Frank Wilson. The first communication from the Krell came 22 hours later. The face that appeared on screens worldwide was reptilian with gray scales and vertical yellow eyes. Its voice was translated into a harsh mechanical tone. People of Earth, we are the Krell Dominion. You harbor fugitives who have stolen from us. Surrender the Veldari and their ships immediately, or we will cleanse your world of resistance. Captain Morgan stood with Earth's leaders as they debated their response. Some argued for negotiation, others for immediate military action. The Veldari representatives waited in silence, knowing they had brought this danger to their new allies. Finally, Morgan stepped forward. Let me speak to them. President Chen nodded. As the first human to contact the Veldari, perhaps they'll listen to you. The communication link opened, and Morgan faced the Krell commander. He spoke clearly and without fear. This is Captain Alex Morgan of Earth. The Veldari came to us in need, and we offered sanctuary. That is not a crime, but an act of compassion. We will not surrender them to you. The Krell commander's eyes narrowed. Then you will share their fate. Prepare for cleansing. The connection cut off, and the room erupted in activity. Earth had just over 12 hours to prepare for its first interstellar conflict. Lieutenant Alicia Garcia, a weapons specialist who had been studying Veldari defensive systems, presented a bold plan. The Krell rely on quantum-based targeting systems, she explained, but our older radar-based systems operate on principles they might not expect. If we combine Earth's traditional defenses with Veldari energy technology, we might create something they've never encountered. Engineers and scientists from both species worked frantically to implement Garcia's idea. Earth's orbital defense platforms were quickly modified with Veldari components. Meanwhile, the military prepared a more direct approach. The UEA's Horizon, now repaired and upgraded, would lead a fleet of Earth's best ships alongside the functioning Veldari vessels. We'll hit them before they reach Earth orbit. Admiral Hughes told the assembled captains, use the asteroid belt for cover and strike from multiple vectors. Security Chief Wright trained human soldiers in Krell ship layouts and vulnerabilities, knowledge shared by the Veldari. They have superior firepower, he told his teams, but their ships have 3 critical weak points. Target the junction points between their modular sections. As the deadline approached, Captain Morgan addressed the combined human Veldari defense fleet from the Horizon's bridge. We didn't ask for this fight, but we stand together now. Earth has never faced an extraterrestrial threat before, but neither have the Krell faced humans. They think us primitive and weak. Let's show them how wrong they are. The ships moved into position, hidden behind Mars and among the asteroids. Earth's population watched the skies and their screens, knowing that somewhere above them, The planet's fate would soon be decided. "This is it," Morgan said as the Krell ships came into visual range. "All vessels, move on my mark. 3, 2, 1. Engage." The combined fleet emerged from hiding, weapons charge, on course to intercept the invaders. Humanity's first interstellar battle had begun. The space between Mars and Earth erupted with energy as the battle began. The Krell ships fired first, powerful beams of orange light cutting through the vacuum. 3 smaller Earth vessels were hit immediately, their shields flaring bright before failing. "Evasive pattern Delta," Admiral Hughes commanded. The human ships scattered, using the asteroid field for cover. Captain Morgan watched from the Horizon's bridge as the Veldari vessels moved with surprising agility despite their earlier damage. They released clouds of glittering particles that confused the Krell targeting systems. "It's working," Commander Rice reported. Their hit rate just dropped by 40%. The Earth ships countered with missiles, primitive by Krell standards but effective because of their unpredictable flight paths. Several struck the lead Krell vessel, creating small explosions against its armored hull. On Earth, Kevin Wu and his team of civilian hackers had been granted emergency access to military systems. They focused on cracking the Krell communication frequencies. "Their encryption is like nothing I've ever seen," Wu said, fingers flying across his keyboard. "But there are patterns. Wait, I think I've got something." Lieutenant Garcia's hybrid weapon system came online as the battle entered its second hour. The Horizon locked onto the main Krell ship and fired. A beam of blue-white energy, created by combining Earth power systems with Veldari focusing technology, struck the enemy vessel. For a moment, nothing happened. Then a section of the Krell ship's hull warped and collapsed inward. "Direct hit," Garcia shouted. Their shields weren't calibrated for our frequency. The Krell responded with overwhelming force, concentrating fire on the Horizon. The ship shuddered under the assault. "Shields at 28%, Williams reported from engineering. "We can't take another hit like that." Morgan made a bold decision. "Get me a boarding team. We're going to take the fight to them." A small craft launched from the Horizon, carrying Morgan, Wright, and a team of soldiers alongside 2 Veldari engineers. Using the continuing battle as cover, they approached the damaged section of the lead Krell ship. Breaching in 3, 2, 1, Wright counted down as they attached to the hull. Inside the Krell vessel, the team encountered immediate resistance. Tall reptilian soldiers fired energy weapons down the corridors. The humans and Veldari took cover, returning fire. "We need to reach their command center," Morgan said, checking a schematic provided by Veldari intelligence. "This way." Back on Earth, Wu's team finally broke through the Krell encryption. "We're in their systems," he announced to the military leaders. "And something strange. These attack orders are automated. They're following pre-programmed directives that are thousands of years old." President Chen leaned forward. "You mean they're not making conscious decisions to attack?" "It seems their entire military operates on ancient protocols," Wu confirmed. "The original programmers may not even exist anymore." On the Krell ship, Morgan's team fought their way to the command center. What they found inside surprised them. The Krell officers were arguing among themselves, some clearly opposed to the attack. When the humans entered, weapons raised, the Krell fell silent. Their leader stepped forward. "You fight with unexpected skill," the commander said through a translation device. "Few species resist the dominion." "We're not just fighting for ourselves," Morgan replied. "We're fighting for the Veldari too." "The resource thieves," the commander hissed. "They're refugees seeking survival," Morgan corrected. "And now we have control of your communication systems. We know your attack is based on automated directives, not current facts." The Krell commander's eyes widened in surprise. Outside, the battle paused as Wu's team broadcast a signal that temporarily disabled the Krell weapon systems. Hughes used the opportunity to surround the remaining Krell ships. 3 days later, representatives from all 3 species met aboard a neutral station in Earth orbit. The Krell, freed from their ancient programming, explained their society had been ruled by artificial intelligence for generations, following war protocols established by ancestors long dead. "We offer peace," the Krell representative said, "and knowledge to prevent our mistakes from becoming yours." President Chen looked at Admiral Skrull, then at Captain Morgan. "Earth accepts your offer. 3 species working together will be stronger than any alone." The treaty they signed that day became known as the Solar System Protection Alliance. Earth, once thought a primitive outpost in the galaxy, was recognized as the bridge between former enemies.